Hello and welcome to BeamNG Drive. I'm davidinark. Whoops. And today, I figured out how to make a tunnel. Whoops, I should probably change my angle a little bit. Look at this. Now, I have walls and such on this side, and then when I come through, I left this wide open just because I wanted to be able to demonstrate or show you that I'm actually, and just for the sake of argument, let's pause the physics, and you will see I am under my terrain. Look at that. So my tunnel goes from this side over to this weird thing I got going here. I'm not saying it's pretty. I'm just saying I figured it out, okay? I have the tunnel going into the side of the hill. So the hill itself actually extended down somewhere to here, and then put a hole in the terrain. And then once you put a hole in the terrain, it's just a matter of putting in the pieces and parts so that you can make a tunnel, go through under the ground. Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. Anyway, you can make a tunnel, go through the ground, and there you go. I'm so excited that I figured out how to make tunnels. Now, this is not necessarily the best way to make tunnels, and it's certainly not the only way to make tunnels. It's just the way that I kind of figured out by poking around and figuring out what was what. So, real quickly, I'm going to attempt to show you how to make a tunnel in BeamNG Drive. And I think the best way I can think to do this is to pick a starting point and an entry point and an exit point. Just for the sake of argument, I say we take these dark lines running across here, maybe. All right. So, what you should be able to do is, if you use your mesh road editor, and you're going to make a mesh road to go through the tunnel. Now remember, your mesh road is going to follow the curve of your terrain. So one of the things that you'll have to do later is edit each point so that your tunnel is flat, and I'll show you how to do that. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to start here, and we're just going to cruise through here. For this, I don't really care how far apart the nodes are. I'm just grabbing so that I can make a road for my tunnel. So we should be able to come out somewhere in there. I need to delete that last point. It kind of did a weird thing. There we go. All right. So I have the road that will go through my tunnel. Now, one of the things that I can do is I can figure out if I put the first point where I want, at the height that I want, so that if I click on this and I adjust this down to say, okay, that is where I want to go through. So if I look over here on the position, I can see that my Y position is negative 80.26. So I think what I'll do is I'll just, to make my life easier, I'm just going to do negative 80. Call it good. So what I'm going to do then is, and there may be an easier way to do this, I'm sure there probably is, but I'm going to move each point to a negative 80. And what that does is that makes it so that my road going through the tunnel will be perfectly flat. Okay, so after I lowered all my points, this point here is actually not coming out of the ground at this point. So it's close though. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and stretch this point out until it breaks through the ground so that I get a feel for where it is going to come out. All right. So if and actually it looks like it's a little curvy. So if I wanted to, yeah, look at that. Alright, so one of the other things I could do is adjust my points so that the road itself is a little straighter. So we're just going to straighten this up some, or, well, a little bit. Let me just... Again, you can move your points however you want to. Okay, that's close to straight. I mean, it does a little weird curvy stuff through there, but that's okay. Oh, actually, it does make a curve. Huh, that's funny. All right, so if I wanted it, who cares? We'll let it curve. All right, so, okay. Now, the next thing you're going to do is after you've got your road set, if I lower my terrain here to get my road exposed, now we'll make it look pretty and everything later, but where is my road? Oh, there's my road, right? Is that the corner yet? Oh my, nope. Okay, we're still going. Okay, there we go. So what I'm doing is I'm just pushing the terrain down, and you can make this pretty, you know, whenever you want or whatever. Right now I'm just trying to get it out of the way. All right. So what you want is ultimately you want to build a place where you have an entrance kind of to the mountainside, but you want to make sure that it makes sense. Like if I built it right here, that doesn't really make sense because this is so low. So I'm trying to get to where I can build up an entrance into the side of the hill. Come on, there we go. Come on, come on. And again, you can make this look pretty, etc. Take your time, do it right, all that kind of stuff. So if I do this, that's pretty close, I think. Just trying to judge height and what have you. All right, so I want a relatively smooth entrance, so I should be able to kind of work this semi-smoothly. I'm trying to get sort of a straight line across here. Okay, that's pretty close. All right, so now as you can see, we are going straight into the side of the hill. So now I'm going to grab the clear terrain button, and I should be able to just clear the terrain right in front of me. So as you can see, I am now clearing the terrain in front of me. You'll also notice that it is a little weird, and sometimes it doesn't clear where you think it should. There we go. And then I got to get rid of you. Where are you? Why can't I get rid of you? I think that's you. Yep. All right. So now, if we come out here, look, I still have some weird terrain right here. No. Wait, hang on. Okay. I'm trying to get rid of this piece. Oh, actually, what I could do is just, instead of deleting that, we'll just move it down. All right. And then I have this, which moving that down isn't going to help me. So let's see if I can clear this piece here. Like I said, you got to be kind of careful until you can figure out exactly where it is. Nope, see, I'm clearing out all kinds of terrain. That is not what I'm trying to clear out. Come on. There we go. All right, so there's a good chance I cleared something else out that I didn't mean to, but that's okay. All right, so we have this piece of terrain cleared out. Then we can go all the way to the other end of the tunnel, and we can do the same thing. I can use the lower height tool to clear out a space. And again, I want to work it through enough that I have a decent entrance point so that the vehicles look like they're going into the side of the mountain. You kind of want it to look decent, right? Semi-realistic or completely realistic, as the case may be. Okay. I think that should be good enough. We're going to go for it. So again, I grab clear terrain. I'm going to move in here for a closer look, and we're going to clear the terrain that gets us. Oh my gosh, it's so bizarre trying to find out exactly where I'm supposed to clear. There we go. There we go. All right, it's actually a little easier from up top. He says as he can't find this one right here. There it is. Okay, close enough. All right, so now we have 2 entrances. So at this point now, what you want to do is you're going to go into your levels materials, and you're going to build up the entrance to the tunnel. So to do that, I'm going to go to my object editor. I'm going to come over to the library, and then you want to make sure you're in the right levels, which I am not at this point. So let me get back to my davidinark, and in art, shapes, and you have rocks, or if you want to use something else, you can use something else as your entrance. I'm going to use rocks. And there are all kinds of different rocks. I like the rock faces wall. So I'm going to double click on it, and you'll see that it brings this into the game, and I can position this wherever I need to. So I'm going to flip this up on its end for the sake of argument. And we're going to position this little guy so that he makes an entrance. Now, you'll notice that it's a little, it's smaller than the entrance I had to make, so I can do a couple of things. One, I could pick another rock face wall and add to it and make it bigger, or what I prefer to do is just make, I can stretch this out. Now, granted, if you stretch it out too much and you do too many weird things with it, it begins to not look realistic. So you want to watch that as you are figuring out how you want to do this. But now normally when you have a tunnel entrance, these are straight up and down. So don't worry about missing pieces. All right. The idea, first of all, is to get it to be straight up and down. So it should be 90. Well, 90 actually makes it look like it's leaning backwards. So let's just do this. And I'm going to move this back into here a little bit. And I could actually move this down some if I wanted to have the rock so that it kind of looks like it's sticking up through, right? Don't worry about gaps, because we'll fill in the gaps in just a minute. So I have the one piece already in place, and it's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and then I'm going to take my second one, and we're basically going to do the same thing. Pop that puppy down in there. And again, I can set the height differently if I want to, or I can make them the same height. And then I can adjust. So for example, let's just say that I want these to be the same height, right? So that's probably roughly the same height. It looks pretty close. But you'll notice that the ground is not, right? It kind of leans down. It's doing some weird stuff. Well, I can go to the terrain editor, and I can pick the raise height, and I can gently bump this up to get it out of the way. See? Isn't that cool? Oh, well, isn't it kind of cool? It's not really, it's not level, but that's, oops, that's for several reasons. One, yours truly is kind of an idiot. Okay, that's close enough. All right, it doesn't matter where that sits, because what you're going to do is go back to your object editor, and now I'm going to copy and paste in yet another of these, but this time I'm going to lay it on its side, because it's going to act like the cross member for the bridge cover. So I'm going to come in here. We're going to move this over a little bit. All right, we're going to move this up. Let's see. Actually, I turned it a little too far for my liking. So there we go. That's a little better. Now, what you want to do is you want to position yourself. So you want to make sure that as you're looking at this cross beam, that it is not leaving any gaps. And I like the fact that the ground kind of peeks through, because later when I add a texture in here, then it's going to fit nicely once I do some rocks. All right, so I have the entrance to my tunnel. And again, it's got some gaps. It's got some stuff going on. So one of the things that you can do is you can use either the same, if you want to use the same rock formation, or what I like to do is I like to use, like, here's a rock faces medium. So here's another rock here. And so I can adjust this. I can manipulate it. All right, so I can do this. And we'll just kind of tilt that out a little bit. Push this back into here. And all I'm trying to do is cover up as much of the hole as I can and try to make it look as natural as I can. I mean, it may or may not when it's all said and done, but if I can get close, then I'll call it good. So that's cool. All right, so then I'm going to Control C, copy, Control V, paste, and do the same thing. And I'm just going to slam this guy over here. And we will move him over here and move him down. So I've got the hole covered up, but then I want to make sure that it's all in the right place, so he's not even close. So I want to use my tilt, give a little tilt to it, maybe not quite that much. I think I kind of want to tilt him a little this way, just to give it a little, you know, something. All right, so there's some of the texture going through there. So if I wanted to, I can adjust this as needed. Actually, I think what I'll do, yeah, I see that this particular terrain piece is kind of sticking through, but that's actually okay for me because I'll paint over that later. All right. Or if I didn't want to paint over it, what I could do is make another copy and paste the same rock and just add a rock with that sticks out just a hair. See, now I've got it covered up, although it's not quite covering up that one. So there's still some weird stuff happening there. But again, I can adjust that as I want to. I can do what I want to with it. So that's kind of cool. Actually, I kind of like that idea. I'm going to add one to this side. Whoops, wrong button. I kind of like that. It's kind of a neat feature for the entrance of the tunnel. It's kind of cool. Let me see here. Again, I'm not going to really worry about this grass sticking out because I will eventually make it rock when I repaint it. Okay, so just for the sake of time and argument, I have the entrance to this tunnel, although I have to say that this right here, that's a little, I'm going to push that back just a little bit. I'm afraid that's taking up a little too much of the road. Got to make sure I can get through there, right? Okay. So now I'm going to cruise back to the other side and let's build an entrance for this side. And again, if I need to, I can go to my terrain editor. I can use the raise up so that we can raise this up so that we get a decent entrance here. All right. Yeah, I know. And again, I can make it pretty later. Right now, I'm just trying to get an entrance going here. All right, so once again, back to my object editor, and I want the rock faces wall like we did before. And we're going to tilt this bad boy up. There we go. To about 85-ish. Oh, no, actually, you need to be, oh, whoa, wrong one. Okay. Now this is a little weird, just because of the way it's going into the mountain, but that's okay. We'll just move this guy where we want to move him. And once again, I will stretch him out to make him a little bigger. And let's see where we want to put this dude here. Push it back into the wall. Okay. And move him down just a little bit. I don't want to. There we go. Okay. Alright. There's still some gap there, and rather than mess with all that, I can just change the tilt. There we go. Alright, that should be good. We'll find out real quick. Control C, Control V. Let's put one on the other side. Oops. Sorry. Put this in here. Okay, now ideally I'd want them pretty close to the same height, which that actually looks like it is pretty close to the same height. There's some weird stuff going on there at the bottom. Move this just a little. They're actually kind of leaning apart, but that's okay. It's part of the charm. Alright, so paste in another one. Lay this bad boy down. Whoop. And bring him back this way. And go up here. I knew when High Def and I were talking, and we're talking about how similar this was to Far Cry 3. I was like, I know there's a way to make tunnels in Far Cry 3, so there's got to be a way to do this in BeamNG. And sure enough, I just played around, and like I said, I'm sure there's other ways to do this, but for now, for me, this works. That's a little not quite the angle I want. There we go. That's close enough. Ooh, yeah. Well, no. Actually, as you can see, we have a small problem back here. So I think I would like to maybe bring that down. Yeah, that's a little, well, man. Can I bring that back down just a little? Okay, the question is, did I just make that too low? No, I think we should be fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, we've got the basic, oh wait, I forgot. I want to do the faces medium so that I can have a fun little entrance here. Gotta have the rocks in the side to make it look like we're actually in the side of a hill here, side of a mountain. All right, let's see if that looks decent. Sure. All right. Copy paste. We do the same thing over here. Oops. Sorry. Get down here. Move this dude over here and move him. Oops. Back this way. I think what I'm going to do is rotate this around. There we go. Put the flat part down. And I need to rotate it so that it stands up a little straighter. And that one looks a little weird, but that's okay. Is it against the wall? Kind of. All right. All right. So one of the other things that I had mentioned was filling in some of the other gaps by using the terrain painter. So I'm going to use the terrain painter, and I already have rock selected. So I'm going to use rock, and then I'm going to go in here, and we're going to paint this with rock, which looks a little weird and stretched out actually because of the way I did that. So we'll just paint this as some rocky terrain here. Get that colored in, make it look like we're going into the side of the mountain. Yeah, I stretched that out a little much, so you can see what happens when you stretch stuff out. doesn't quite look right, but that's okay. We'll fix that at some point. And I also want to go ahead and let's run rocks up around the back here so that as you approach, it also looks like it's supposed to be there. We see we have some, oh, well, yeah, we have some gap issues, but that's okay. So let's jump to the other side. And once again, let's fill in some rocks with this. And again, because I have it stretched out, it looks a little funky. So you want to be careful when you are working with your terrains. And what I would probably do if I was making this for real is I would go ahead and fill this in with rock like I'm doing, but I would then go ahead and put in some rocks from the using the assets of the game. It's just going to look better if you do it that way. It'll look way more realistic. It'll have 3D rocks in there. All right, so there we go. Now we have a rocky entrance to our tunnel here. Sorry, oh, that's so cool, man. All right, so for the sake of argument, I say we spawn in our car. All right, so now I can drive on my no texture road. I'm driving through the mountain on the tunnel I just created. Yahoo! Now, of course, what you see is the fact that the tunnel has no walls on the side. Oh! So, had I fallen off, then I just would have fallen off deep into the map itself. Plus, you see that the road has no material. So, let's jump out here. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix my mesh road. So my mesh road here needs to have a top material default. And I'm going to pick road and path. And I'm going to pick asphalt, select. So that gives me the top. The sides, I can pick whatever I want for the side material. I actually like, I got to remember where that is. Somewhere, no, not test material. Let's see, I got to remember where that was. Was it under natural? Yeah, I kind of like having the idea of maybe putting like rocks there, or like this rock faces looks kind of like cracked asphalt. So if I hit select, then you see that the side now looks like it's kind of that cracked asphalt. So that's pretty cool, which really when you're done, your players shouldn't see the side anyway, because you can put a wall up in here. Plus that also hides all the inside of the tunnel. All right, so there you go. What I don't know is how you make a wall that follows the curve of the road you have without, I mean, the only thing I can figure is you can put in whatever pieces and parts, or I guess you could put in a road that was like tall and narrow and then put in the points at the same place. I don't know. I haven't figured that out. I haven't really messed with that too much. But what I did, one of the things that I did kind of play with is using a material for the roof of the tunnel. So to do that, I can go to Object Editor under my library. Why do you keep going back to there? That's so weird. All right. Art, shapes, and was it miscellaneous? Somewhere there is a, yeah, this giant block, this GM block, 48 by 8 by 32. If I bring that in, it is a huge wall. So then I can lay it flat. Let's see, I guess that would be 90. Is there a way for me to rotation? Yeah, so if I do 90, there we go. So that gives it, that makes it flat, and then I can grab the mover. Wow, that is thick as all get out. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to use the adjustment tool here, and let's thin this bad boy out. There we go. Yeah, that's better. There, I'll make it super thin. All right, and then I need to line this up with the top of my tunnel so that I get a feel for where we're going here. All right, so if I come back here, it should be close. I need to move it in. Oops. This is definitely one of the problems with doing tunnels is the mountain, you know, is only so high, so you lose it. You end up outside of the mountain as you're working on stuff. Excuse me. And then the other issue that you'll see is you get stuff like this, where the pieces, the mountain, or your roof line is sticking out from the mountain, so you have to figure a way to cover that. You can either use the terrain editor and bulk up the terrain where that's happening, and of course you would make it pretty. I'm really not doing well with this. In fact, probably my best bet would be change the size so that I'm working with a much bigger area, so it's not so. There we go. That's not bad, actually. It actually still looks pretty natural. There we go. Other than where I decorated it. It's starting to look a little funky, but you get the general idea. And then over here, we can do the same thing. All right, that's cool. And then it's just a matter of going around and looking to see. See, I've got a piece sticking out here, so we'd want to fix that. And then you can do a couple of things to extend this out. One, you could just grab the resizer for your object here. So if I go back to my scene, and that should be what this is. Yeah, that's what that is. So if I wanted to, I could just simply grab the resizer, grab that horizontal, and just whoa, that's not where I thought that was going to go. Well, that's a bit of a problem, huh? Well, that did not. Here, let's just undo. Okay. Man, I thought that was gonna, obviously it's growing out from here, so I guess what I could do is move this all the way to the other end, and then that way as it grows out I can do that, or I can just simply add in additional pieces, right? I can do Control C, Control V. There we go. I've just pasted it in here, and then we just move this to where it needs to go. Back this up here. That's not quite the same height, but I'm not sure that matters. So this is what it's going to look like as you are driving in. Oh, this actually isn't quite where I need it to be. All right, well, I can fix that if I want to. So I can drive in here. And again, I would check outside so we can see where the roof is coming through the mountain. We can adjust this accordingly. In fact, I might even make this bigger. There. That way it's even a little more natural. All right. So now if I back here and we paste in another one, Get that to be the same height. And move this along. Now, they don't have to line up exactly. Well, okay, that should line up a little better than that. But as long as your roof covers your road, that's what matters, because when you put your walls up, then the rest of that's going to be covered anyway, and it won't matter. So one way that you could do your walls would be to paste in your, sorry. So I can paste in another one of these flat pieces, and then we can upend it. So that it is, well, I was thinking 90 degrees, but that doesn't seem, yeah, 90 is not going to cut it. Okay, well, if that is 90, then that should be 180, right? But then no. Oh, I can't do my math. Was it 120? So somewhere in there. I don't know, somewhere in there. We'll figure it out. And then I can move this over to where my road is. Now, remember, the problem I have here is my road is curved right there, so I don't know the secret to making curved walls. So I'm just going to do this and move this out a little bit. Yeah, see, I need a better way to do that. Which actually, I guess at this point would be to just kind of move this back a little ways. Push this up against this. Maybe turn it a little. Oh, no, not quite that much. All right, so is there a gap there? Yeah, there's a little gap. Oh my goodness. There we go. Oh, come on. Well, close. Which I'm sure on my rotation, if I could figure out the math, then I could figure that out. But anyway, so if I copy that one and paste it in, oh, look at there, that was pretty close to where I needed it. Then I can move this in. Again, the idea is to get it so that there's not a gap. And so I'll tell you what, let's just move this back a little bit. I know it's not going to be right because, again, there's a slight curve. Well, actually, there's a major curve there, but the idea is just so you can see what's happening here. So then I can do this. That's close. All right, so we stuck in a road. So let's do this. I think my car's kind of stuck. There we go. But what you would have is, as you had the tunnel, then this is what you could have for the tunnel, right? With the walls on the side and the drive through. And you'd have walls on each side so that as the player drove through, they wouldn't see anything other than the walls. So what's also cool about this is, okay, so if I take that same wall that I've got selected and I don't know where it's going to paste it though. Whoops. I don't know what I did. Oh, I hit the wrong key. All right, so if we copy that, if I paste it here, okay, good, it's closer to us. All right, so let's say I pull this in here. And again, I think it's tilted back just a hair. And then we do this. Well, now it's tilted too much the other way. Move this in here. Alright, so I could actually put this. See how it's partially in that, in the floor? And then I want to make sure that the top is aligned, not necessarily with the top of the rocks, but is aligned with the top of the opening to the tunnel. And so what I could do is come back just a hair, but oh yeah, no, that works. All right, so let's see, how does that look coming in? It's a little weird, but that's okay. Actually, it's not bad. All right, that's not too shabby. So if we do, let me grab that one again. Okay. So if we copy and paste this one, again, we want it to be at the right height. Yeah, the wall's leaning back a little bit, I got you, but it is what it is. So we move this back. Okay. And we move this out a little bit so that we have room to drive on our tunnel. Actually, I pulled it down a little low, so let's go up. Which, of course, it's slanted a little bit. So what I could do is force this one up a little bit so these are pretty close to even. And then paste in another wall. Let's get this bad boy laying relatively flat. Close enough for now. Get this, move this over, move this up. Remember, once again, the idea here is to create the illusion that we are in a tunnel. So I need to tilt this just a hair that way. Nope, a little bit. Well, no, actually the problem is I just need to lower it, I think. Yeah, there we go. So let's just double check this. Okay, so it doesn't quite meet up here. So I'm going to move this in just a little bit. Oh, I see. My problem is my rocks. These rocks are... so do I have enough room? Yeah. So I could raise the roof a little bit. Oh, dude, that is so cool. All right. So once again, I would come out here and look for places where my roof is sticking through the ground. And let's do some work over here. There we go. Just trying to give that kind of a natural. All right, so where else do I have? Oh, we got problems right here. That's interesting. From where things are sticking up. Now, the thing about these, because they're sticking up, what that means is I could actually just choose these, or I should be able to just choose these and lower them. So if I come over here to the object editor, I should be able to click on this and no, that's not you. Well, I don't know where he is, so I'm going to come up here. Okay, my problem is I'm not sure. Why are you all the way back there? What is happening here? Okay, that's interesting. Well, it is you. I have no idea why it's all the way back there. That's going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, but as you can see, I was able to lower it. And it's inside the mountain, so that's really all I care about. Okay, so are you the one above this? Yep, that's you. Once again, I don't understand why the selector is all the way out here, but okay. So we will lower you into the ground and then make sure that we didn't just create a gap, which we did not. Awesome. Okay, now we do have a gap here. So what I should be able to do is I'm going to take this, and this time for this one, I'm just going to extend this a little bit. Whoa, I think I extended a little too far. Holy cow, man. Okay, how are we doing? Alex, is that okay? We good? Yeah, we're good there. Now we created a gap here, I think. No? Okay, cool. All right, so once again, doing that, I managed to get the roof line out of sorts. So let's just add a little. There we go. Cruise into our tunnel. As you can see, looks like a nice little box. We cruise through here. Again, you would set your tunnel up so that you could build your wall straight down. That way you've got your walls and your ceilings. Feel free to use other materials as your wall and ceilings as well. Down we go. But there you go. I just wanted to show you real quick how I learned to make tunnels, and how you can play around with tunnels too. So very cool. And now that I'm, oh man, I hate it when that happens. This bugs me. So if you got a different way to make tunnels, or you've got any questions, problems, suggestions, horror stories, feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next, whoa, that's huge. We'll see you next time on BeamNG Drive. Okay, my question is, now that I just did that, how does that look in here? Is that okay? It's a little weird, but that's all right. Awesome. Tunnels in BeamNG Drive. Woo! Very cool stuff. This game is awesome.